already got a standing ovation. I didn't even do anything. I love this crowd. I'll give you the $20 later. All right. Well, I already love this crowd. Glad I got here a little bit early. I could kind of feel the vibe, the energy. So it's good that it sounds like everybody's here to learn and here to connect, and hopefully you walk away with some really good stuff. And hopefully I am the one that can give you some of that. Okay. So as Mark said, we're going to talk about adversity. Has anybody gone through, I don't know, any type of adversity in the last 2 years? I mean, no? I want to know if anybody in here, okay, let me ask the question. Has anybody in here never gone through any adversity in their life? Everything is 100% perfect. Okay. I even heard some giggling. Good. Because if there was somebody who raised their hand, I was actually going to sit down in the back and let you come up here and teach this, because I would love to learn some things. So anyway, as Mark said, you know, I love to keep things energetic. I love to keep them interactive. So the more that you interact with me or interact with everybody else, the more that you're going to get out of this, because, hey, you're spending a couple hours of your morning to be here. I want you to get a lot out of this. So as we kind of go on, if you want to ask questions or raise your hand, I'll pause in between some of the sections so we can get those questions out. And you've got paper in front of you, so write down any questions, notes, all that kind of good stuff. The first thing I want to ask you is, what is adversity? You can just shout it out. What would the definition of adversity be?
Challenge you don't know how to solve.
A challenge you don't know how to solve? Absolutely. I'm sure a lot of us have had those in the last couple of years, right? What else?
Getting up when you're knocked down.
What's that?
Getting up when you're knocked down.
Getting up when you're knocked down, because adversity knocks you 10 times to Sunday, right? It's not fun. It's usually challenging. Usually when somebody hears the word adversity, it's a negative thing, right? I mean, because as soon as I said, hey, has anybody had adversity? Everybody's like, huh, you know, oh yeah. And I'm sure things went through your head of stuff that's been happening to you for the last couple of years, if not your entire life, whatever it is. So most of the time when people think of adversity, it's negative, it's challenges, it's getting knocked down. But what if I told you you could use adversity to your advantage? I know. So in order to use it to your advantage, we're going to go through a method. I'm not going to go over it just right now, but there's ways to use those challenges and getting knocked down to your advantage for your business, or if you don't have a business, your career moves, whatever it is. And I'm here to teach you a specific method to use it to your advantage. And when you use adversity to your advantage, AKA your secret weapon, that is what's going to put you over the competition of anybody else, of your competitors, right? And is everybody okay with that? Everybody good with a competitive advantage, you know, higher sales, more customers, maybe steal them from your competitor, you know, those kind of things. Okay, so we're going to go over all that. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I know it's a good song.
Pink.
Exactly. I know it's a really good song. But do you know who actually originated that quote?
Somebody died.
Somebody did die, you're right. Because something did kill the person. That's true. You're right on that. Any guesses?
It originally came from Steel Magnolias, as far as I know.
Okay, maybe a little further back before Steel Magnolias. It was Friedrich Nietzsche.
Oh.
So I don't know if anybody knows who that is, but he was a German philosopher. A lot of his thoughts and practices were ahead of his time. But unfortunately, he suffered a lot of health problems. He ended up going mad, which is kind of sucky for a philosopher, right? He lost his mind, actually, due to some health problems. But the reason that Friedrich Nietzsche said this is because he lived through it, right? This is literally the epitome of adversity, because you could get knocked down, but you get back up. So what I want you to think of is, how can you really have adversity work for you? So a lot of you, you know, including myself, when something is hitting the fan, right, and you can't see a way out of it, the only thing that you can see is what's in front of you in the negativity, right? The challenge, the problem, the obstacle. But what I really want to do today is have adversity work for you. Learn how to take that and make that lemonade that we talked about. Everybody good with that? Is everybody good with like literally taking stuff that hits you constantly and using it to your advantage? Good. All right, perfect. So yes, you can use it as your secret weapon, and I'm going to go over a 4-part method in just a second. But like I said, interactivity is awesome. Ask a question, answer a question, keep it interactive. And yes, maybe at the end you win a pretty big prize, just saying. So everybody who's on Zoom, if you're there, you know, you can interact as well. You can put some questions in the chat or something like that. You're part of this as well. Now, what are you gonna walk away with? Who is this person standing up here talking about adversity like she knows? But these are the 4 things that I really, really want you to come out with. I want you to keep moving in the right direction, no matter what the setbacks are, right? Got some obstacles, you have some challenges, no problem. Just keep moving in that right direction. And when you can do that, then you're going to be able to deliver a higher advantage over your competitors. That's what I really want you to do. Whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're in corporate, whatever, you know, you're looking for a career, whatever it is, I want to give you that advantage so you can be over your competitors, because I guarantee you a lot of what I'm going to teach you today, a lot of people aren't using. And if they would use it more, they could actually build an advantage for their business. And this isn't just professional, this is personal. Okay, so as I'm kind of teaching all of this, I know we talk about business, it's professional setting, but a lot of the things that I'm going to teach you today, you can use in the personal life. And I really hope you do, because a lot of entrepreneurs, we're going to talk a lot about mindset and the entrepreneurial mindset. So I really hope that you take some of this stuff to heart and you use it in your personal life. And hey, you know, maybe teach your friends and family too, you know, spread the word. Okay. So like I said, as we go on, if you have questions, let me know. I will pause a little bit and ask, making sure that everybody's, you know, keeping up on the same page, picking up what I'm laying down, and then we'll kind of go from there. Mark said that you've got some paper in front of you. Please use it. And I'm just going to warn you now, get the pen and paper ready, because we are going to be writing some stuff down today. Because I'm the type of person, and my clients know this, I don't just sit here and talk and coach and say the good things and then they walk away and nothing happens. I'm really all about action. So you're going to see a lot of action items. This is a workshop, right? We're going to work. We're going to get some things worked through. So I'm hoping that you write some things down that you can take back with you, either to yourself, your team, your business, whatever it is. Sound good? Fair? Good? Awesome. Okay, we are finally going to get back to that method that I talked about. It's got 4 parts, and I call it the hair method. No, it is not that. It has nothing to do with bunnies, but it was probably the most appropriate acronym that I could create using this method. So here's the first one. The first one is have belief. So President Theodore Roosevelt said, believe you can, and you're halfway there, because it always starts with belief, right? We're talking about adversity. Remember when I said sometimes when adversity hits, all you can see is the thing that's in front of you, the obstacle, the challenge. I really got to get through this, got to get more sales, I got to get more employees, I got to get this, whatever it is. Sometimes the only thing that you look at is just the challenge that's in front of you. But if you actually have belief that you can get over that, you're already halfway there. Because belief is the most powerful force that you can use against adversity. Nothing else, really. It's the most powerful. There are 3 other methods. They all have their different forceability, but this one is the most powerful because everything rises and falls on belief. If you don't have it, you're not going to be going very far. So I know a lot of you might be saying, oh, believe in yourself. You can do it. It's all fluffy and yay and motivational and happy and, you know, and I know some of you who are maybe numbers driven are like, where are the metrics? Where's this belief? I need some proof. I need a spreadsheet. I need the numbers. Where's the ROI? What's this belief stuff? I want hard tips and tricks and techniques to get over adversity. And let me tell you, there's no real metric or anything like that to get over adversity. And unfortunately, a lot of entrepreneurs don't even think about the belief part. They see the business, they see the challenges, they see, oh, we got to make so many sales. I'm going to close the doors if I can't make these sales. I can't keep going like this. My competitors are crushing me. I need to do this. My time management is all over the place. They see these surface level things, but they don't take the time to step back and think about, okay, am I really going to do this or not? Because they get so caught up on the third, fourth, fifth things that they forget to look at the first thing. And belief is based on focus and alignment. And it's so easily forgotten by entrepreneurs because, again, there's no ROI, there's no numbers, there's no metrics. But if more people sat and thought about, how am I really going to do this? Great. But then you also need to think, why am I going to do this? What's the purpose? Because all of you entrepreneurs and career-driven people have purpose and drive to do what you do. And if you have belief in what you're doing and what your company offers, what you offer as a person, that's what's going to drive you over adversity. So I didn't draw this, but one of my mentors, well, I guess I could, hey, look, here's a board, you know? So I didn't think to put this on the slide, but they always say, you know, here, if you're here, right, and you've got a big dream, but you've got this huge obstacle in your way, your belief has to be higher than the obstacle. Because if you're down here and all you can see is this huge mountain that you're about to hit, then you can't see past it. You're always just going to keep hitting the mountain, right? The same challenge is always going to come up. Your vendors are always going to be late. Your team is always going to, you know, not show up. Your customers aren't going to buy from you because you're literally always going to hit your head against this mountain. But if most entrepreneurs understood, if your belief is high enough and you know whatever happens, you're going to go over those mountains, might not be exactly how you thought you would do it, but you'll do it, then you're going to go over these obstacles every single time and the adversity won't be as bad. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when my mentor did that, I was like, well, that is the most simplest thing ever. But how do we build our belief, right? Things are hitting the fan, craziness, sales are down. I don't know what's going on. This is, you know, 3 years ago, my business was thriving. Now it's here. Or maybe your business is thriving and you just want to get higher. Okay, great. So if you want to really build belief, it's based on two things. It's based on focus and alignment. So I already kind of talked about focus. And focus is what is working. Now, I don't know about you, but have you gone into a restaurant lately and there might be like a sign posted, we're understaffed, please be patient. Our cook called off, we have one waitress, you know, things like that. Or maybe you walk into an office building or a medical office, oh, please be patient with us. Okay, has anybody seen signs like that lately? I mean, it sounds like everybody has. Yeah, me too.
Every restaurant.
Every single restaurant, I think, is doing that.
Investment.
Yeah, exactly. So I understand why they're doing it because they want people to be patient. Hey, we're understaffed. Please don't scream at us. This is what's going on. I get that. However, the vibe and the belief that you're putting out probably isn't the message that you want your customers to hear. I understand that you're putting it out because you don't want them to be upset at your servers and your people. However, you might want to focus on what is working. Okay, you've only got 3 waitresses or 3 staff or 1 admin or something like that. But you know what? They are working their butt off all these long hours. They're dedicating themselves. They've got persistence. They've got the smarts and the know-how and everything like that. So if you focus on what is working rather than the people that you're missing, then what's going to happen is you're going to have that belief that gets over those obstacles, right? Like we just showed. Now, I won't go too far into the law of attraction, but if there is a science that what you believe and what you put out will be aligned and attract back to you. Okay. So if you're constantly saying we're understaffed, we're this, our vendors, did this, the supplies didn't come in. Oh my gosh, this person called off. Now we're down at 6 people. That's what's going to come back for you. So if you focus on what is working, that's what's going to build your belief over those obstacles. So look at your resources. What do you have right now? Do you have a building? Do you have your computer equipment? Are you working remote? Do you have a team? What resources do you have in place right now is what you should focus on. And with that, then you can work on constructive solutions. Okay, so you are understaffed. Your supplies aren't coming in, the sales are down, whatever it is. Your competitor is doing some craziness that you're like, I don't even know how to keep up with that. So look at those constructive solutions with what you already have and focus on that. Now, I'm not saying ignore that you need more staff or anything like that, but the more that you really focus on what you don't have, you're going to keep on not having those things. Make sense? Okay. Now, when I just talked a little bit about the law of attraction, when you do these things, you're building the belief on your focus. How are you aligning? How are you aligning to what your customer wants? Does your customer want to see constant excuses of understaffed and things? They don't give a what. They just want their thing. They just want their service. They just want on-time delivery. They just want you to come by and give them a great product. They do not care, in essence. They might say, oh, I'm sorry you're understaffed. Where's my stuff, right? If you order something from Amazon and you did Amazon Prime and it should have been there in 2 days and it was there in 3, who's ready to wreck shop after that, right? Somebody's flipping a table. Like, hey man, I have Amazon Prime. It should have been there in 2 days. It was there in 3. Most people aren't very happy about that. But maybe Amazon's going through some problems and understaffed or whatever. You don't want to hear that. You just want your product on time. So when you have belief, you also align to what you want. What do you want as a business owner, a career person? What is it that you want to get out of your business? What is it you want to get out of your lifestyle? I mean, you started the business for a reason, right? I mean, you got into the career that you're in for a reason, right? So when you're looking at your belief level, what is it that you want? And are you aligning to that? Or are you kind of letting things take you off the rails? Now, I know I said, what does your customer want? What do you want? But what does your business want? And I know it's not like a real living, breathing entity, but it kind of is, because it affects a lot of people. It affects you, affects your friends and family, it affects your community, it could affect the world, whatever. So how are you aligning to what your business wants? How does it need to grow? How does it need to make a difference in what you're doing? So think about that. So reframing is key. When things are hitting the fan, reframe. So I'll share a little tip that I do. Sometimes when things are kind of going downhill, you ever have those days where you get in the car and you're like, okay, I got 5 minutes. I'm almost late. I got to go somewhere. And then there's traffic. And then there's a train. And then there's something else. And then I forgot my phone. I got to go back. And it just keeps going and going and going. And then, you get there, the meeting is late, you spill your coffee, then somebody calls and tells you, hey, the dog puked on the carpet, whatever. So things just start going downhill, right? Have you ever had days like that where you're just like, are you serious right now? Like, I started off great. I had my coffee, everything was good. The birds were chirping. And then somehow we just went into oblivion. Reframing is key when that happens. When stuff starts hitting, your belief needs to be higher than those obstacles and reframe. Because when you reframe, you attract that success to you and you repel the adversity. Like, nope, I know the dog got sick and I spilled my coffee, but at least I still got a customer, or I still made the money, or I got the sale, or whatever it is. Reframing, the quicker that you can do that, the quicker that you're going to attract more success and repel the adversity. All right. So pick up that pen. And what I would love for you to do right now is on the paper in front of you or your laptop, your phone, whatever you want to take notes on. I would love for you to write down, we're going to take a couple minutes, write down, what does your customer see? And if you're not a business owner, say, what would professionals see? Like if you're looking to get a job or changing a career, whatever it is, what do others see when they look at your business? Do they look at it? Do they see excuses? Do they see you're understaffed? Do they see that you're frazzled? You can write some adjectives, things like that. I'm going to give you a couple minutes. What do you think your customer sees when they look at your business? And be honest. Be honest. All right, go. Give it about one more minute. Okay. So what does your customer see? So this is a really good thing. If you're an entrepreneur, you really need to understand, how are you being perceived by your customer? So who wants to share? Any thoughts? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sure. So as far as seeing when somebody approaches, I have a trailer. It's very colorful, very bright. Always, so it's an eye-pleasing product. We have shave ice. They're usually pretty large and people are in awe of that.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't had it. Customer service is number one. So always greet them with a smile. Hello, how are you? Interacting with their children, because we do get a lot of kids. A lot of kids order by color, not by flavor. So you're actually talking to the children. Mm-hmm. So you're kind of interacting with the kids as well as the adults. Mm-hmm. And just an inviting tone and manners. I train all my staff manners. Customer service and manners. You know, it doesn't cost a thing. You can have them, please, thank you. Don't ever give money wadded up or fold it over, or, you know, this is your change, thank you very much. Mm-hmm. Have a nice day, enjoy. It's always a pleasant tone.
Perfect. Well, good. And you have like a shaved ice,
shave ice
company, you said? Yeah. Okay. So I remember you talking about it earlier when we did introductions, and obviously that's really, really important, because sometimes if you think of something like that, people are like, oh, well, we're just coming and we're buying shaved ice and that's it, right? They don't expect such a high level of professionalism for something like shaved ice, right? And they're like, oh, well, it's just this, obviously no effect. It's a simple product, right? It's a simple product and it gives joy to people and it's fun, it's inviting, and it creates like a really good community feel, things like that, right? And for you to offer such professionalism and passion toward it, that might be eye-opening to people, like, oh, wow, they really love what they do. They're really involved in making sure that the kids get what they want, and then the parents get what they want, you know, those kind of things. So really good insight on that. Anybody else that wants to share? Yeah, sure.
So just in a little bit that you've said, I've already turned my negative into a positive.
Yay.
So when they walk in my office, everybody's working. So because everybody's working and they're busy, very few people want to look up and say hello because nobody wants to take the next one because everybody's working. But if I turn that into a positive, who would want to go into a place where there's crickets?
Nope.
Nobody.
Nope.
So I think that my answer needs to be is that I need to have a person that's a receptionist that her whole job is to say, hi, come on in, let's get you started.
Exactly.
Because the negative is not that everybody's working. That's a positive.
Right. But like you said, your customer walks in.
But I'm short staffed. Like,
yeah. And you're short staffed. You're like, I got to get these people working. I got to do the thing. We're a tax company.
But I turn it from being I'm short staffed to we're growing so fast.
Yeah.
You know.
That's it. That's a great one. I love it. And you're going to get a whole lot of good ideas today too. So I want to hopefully toward the end, you kind of share some of that insight. I'd like to hear more of what you're thinking on that. It's good. I thought I saw one more hand. Yep.
I wrote down that my customers see a quality product because they are soy candles, the attention to detail that I do put into my candles, the variety of candles that I have and the colors and that stuff. But I also went one step further and says, what do I see in myself? And a lot of times I see procrastination. I was like, oh my God, I got to go down and make the candles. I got to go down and make the melts, delay the uncertainty, and, wait until the last second to get everything done. My customers don't see that, thank goodness. But, I need to turn that around.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and Kathy, I'm glad that you brought that up because all of this, we're going to talk a little bit about the entrepreneur mindset, right? But there are times where you're like, you know what? I love my business. I love my people, but oh my gosh, if I'm going to answer the phone one more time, I'm going to kill someone, or whatever. But if you are finding yourself that you're procrastinating or not wanting to do something, then yes, reframing, some deep dive into, okay, well, do I want to keep doing candles? Do I keep wanting to do it this way? I mean, it's your business, right? It's your business. You can change it. You can not do candles anymore. You can do a different kind of candle, or you could do something else, you could do incense or whatever, so, I mean, it's your business. So if there are things that you just aren't caring for, or your customers are just, something's kind of lacking, then change it, right? I mean, that's the beauty of why you became a business owner. So you could do stuff like that. Okay. Awesome insights. I love that. So I wanted to share a story, as Mark kind of said, when he asked me to talk and I said, I'll hear a couple different things, some ideas. He's like, I want you to do more of the storytelling one. So here's the storytelling part of belief. And so I used to work in corporate, and I worked in corporate communications for a multi-billion-dollar company. It's one of the largest companies in the state of Michigan. And it got to a point where I was doing my business. I was traveling around the country speaking, I was coaching, I was doing all this stuff through my business, but I still had this like side corporate gig I was doing. And so I was like, all right, well, if I'm going to make the impact that I want, I can't have both. Like, that's just not going to work. Something needs to go. However, I had been with this company for a long time. Right. And it's secure. And, I had a great team and I was making some really good money and the benefits were awesome. I mean, right. It was kind of like the perfect job that most people would think from the outside. So it's pretty scary to literally just jump from a secure job, and into a business full time. Oh, and did I mention it was in 2020 when I decided to do this? Right in the middle of 2020 when I decided to do this. So I did my focus and I did my alignment. And I said, look, if I'm really going to focus on a business that helps people and changes lives, the corporate thing just isn't working. You only get one. Don't want to get completely all motivational, but that's my style, is you only get one life. So if you want your business to be a certain way, do that. If you want your life to be a certain way, you only get one. So there is no such thing as a perfect time. And as a success coach, I kind of need to walk the walk, and I wasn't going to wait anymore. So I did my focus, I did my alignment, and I jumped. Now, that is not to say a lot of people were scared to death for me. because including my own parents, oh, honey, what are you going to do for healthcare? Are you sure? I don't know if you should do this. And of course, all the people who had known me for decades at that company, Kristie, oh my gosh, why would you want to leave? And especially now, what's wrong with you? Are you okay? Are you going through like a crisis or something like that? But no, it was because my belief was higher than the obstacle. And at that point, the corporate was my obstacle because I wasn't making the difference that I wanted. So it's the same thing here. When you've got some challenges that are going on in your business, you know, you just have to go on faith, because a lot of the times when you're talking about entrepreneurs, what is one of the things that kind of differentiate entrepreneurs from, let's say, just employees? It's usually the risk factor, right? Because it is a huge risk to go out into business for yourself, because the quote unquote secure corporate job is gone now and you are the business. And if you fail, the business could fail depending on, you know, how your business is structured. So that being said, that's why belief is such the number one thing for entrepreneurs, because let's face it, y'all are different, right? You think different, you act different. And a lot of the times people don't understand what you do. They just don't. They don't understand what it takes mentally, physically, sometimes emotionally, spiritually to be a business owner. They just don't understand. They might say, oh, okay, she's like in the tax company or something. And okay, she does some things with candles, but I don't know what that means. And, you know, and he's in insurance, but I guess that means he sells policies, right? But they don't understand the blood, sweat, and tears that go into it. And that's why I say number one is have belief when you're talking about going over adversity. So as I said, this is a workshop, so we're going to have action items. I would highly encourage you to screenshot this, write it down, whatever, because after we're all done with this, I would really love for you to do these action items. There's going to be 4 of them, so I'm just warning you now. You've heard about have belief. So now I want to ask you, how are you going to refocus? Like you just started doing it right now. You said, you know what? This is going to be a different focus in my office now, right? So how are you going to refocus and how are you going to realign? Because if something kind of got you off the rails, how are you going to get back on the rails? How are you going to do that? Okay, so those are those 2 action items that I would like you to think about when you're talking about have belief. So the A is accept support. You can do irrefutably impossible things with the right amount of planning and support from intelligent, hardworking people and pizza. That's from Scott Gimple. I mean, I totally agree about the pizza. I don't know about anybody else, but definitely pizza. If you're going to get some productivity done, grab that pizza and just go at it. But anyway, the thing with accept support is the most creative force you can use against adversity, right? You can get really creative with your support system. And it's not just humans, right? It's physical resources and things like that. But for the most part, I'm going to talk about support from the human level. So let me ask you, when you have adversity and it kind of hits you, do you kind of go back in the shell? Like, no, I got this, right? As a business owner, a lot of them are like, no, I'm good. I got this. I'm the business owner. I need to figure it out myself. So you kind of get back in your shell and you kind of deal with it, right? Because a lot of entrepreneurs, they think that they're alone. Or do you grab your pack, your pride of your lions and say, all right, let's do this. You know, we got a challenge. Let's rock this out. We got things to do. You know, which one do you usually do? How do you usually handle that? So what I'd ask you right now is who's rolling with you and who's not rolling with you. Now, it doesn't mean they're against you. It could be. It doesn't mean they're against you, but they're definitely not for you. And it could be family, could be friends, and I say that loosely, friends, because usually friends, you know, will still support you no matter what, but we're not going to get into that discussion. but who's rolling with you? Who is there? They might not always understand what you're doing. We're going to talk about that in a second, but who's on your side? Because you really want to choose your association and who you accept support from very carefully. So there's an author, he's gone now, but his name was Charlie Tremendous Jones. And he said, I'm paraphrasing, you will be who you are in 5 years based on the books you read and the association that you keep. Okay. So a lot of you, say, oh, well, I know so-and-so's, kind of not doing much, or so-and-so's negative or whatever, but eventually that association seeps into you. And you really want to be careful about who you're accepting support from. Because if you accept support from the wrong people, that adversity is really going to hit. So there's 3 types of people who you may want to have in your corner. We're going to talk about this toward the end of this section. There are 3 types. There are cheerleaders. I love cheerleaders. They are so happy and they're just full of spirit and positivity. And it could be raining. And I'm talking about real cheerleaders, right? Like in the football field, it could be rainy, it could be cold. And they're like, yay, go team. And they're thinking in their head, this sucks. Why am I here? But they keep a positive face because they know what they're trying to do is motivate the team, motivate the fans, because they're there to be supportive, right? That's what cheerleaders are for. They are supposed to be the biggest fan of the team that is on the field. That's their job. That's what they signed up for. They're there to build buzz. Yeah, yay, touchdown, woo, look at that, pom-poms dancing, flipping around, all that kind of stuff. They're there to build the buzz for the audience. Just like people that you want to get. You want cheerleaders. They may have no clue what you do, but darn it, Kathy is an awesome person and I support her. And I don't know if I want to buy candles because I'm allergic to soy or something, but I'm going to share her links all over the place. Those kind of things. You want cheerleaders. You want fans of your business, that's going to go and share your catering company. Man, that bacon was something good. I am sharing this all over the place. I'm going to make sure that these people know that this is the best catering company ever. So you want cheerleaders, you want fans. They don't have to know everything about you or every single little thing that you do, but you want those people because they build buzz for you. And they are great for confidence building. Don't you love when somebody comes up to you and says, oh my gosh, that was so cool. Look at what you did on social media or Facebook or something like that. Kind of makes you feel good, right? Or even if they comment on, what you accomplished or even your outfit, makes you feel good. And sometimes as entrepreneurs, you need that mental pickup. Right? Even if you're feeling down, you're like, oh, that proposal didn't go very well. I lost the client. But your cheerleader's like, that's okay. You'll get another one. It's all good. You only need another one, right? They give you that mental pickup. And sometimes as entrepreneurs, you really need that. They build that camaraderie and they build that motivation for you to keep doing what you're doing. You're like, okay, you know what? You have no clue what I'm doing, but thank you so much because I needed that. Doesn't everybody need, wouldn't you love if there was like a cheerleader right next to you every single second, you're late for something and they're like, that's okay, you'll be fine, right? You can also have that in your head, right? So if somebody physically is not there, the reframing that we just talked about, taking the negative, turning it into a positive, figuring out how you can do that, you can have a cheerleader in your head. That's a pro tip. So, second type of people that you can accept support from are mentors. And usually these people are hopefully interested in your success, not just their own for ego purposes, but they're interested in your success and they are willing to share their expertise, right? So a lot of the times these people could be someone in your industry, right? That have walked the same path, not always, but they kind of understand a little bit more of what you're doing, right? And most of the time, these mentors, if you trust them and look up to them, those are the very big qualities when you're looking for mentors, that you trust and you respect them. They usually have very invaluable lessons and perspectives, so listen. Because I'll tell you, as a coach, a lot of people, my clients will come to me and I say, okay, what's going on? And they do all the talking and that's great. And then we're at an hour and I'm like, you came to me for the perspective. So if you want me to help you, I have to be able to tell you some things. So I'm just saying, and I used to do this too, back in the day, I would talk a little bit too much and not listen to my mentor as much as I should have. Again, another pro tip. But mentors are good because you can help learn the industry from them. Not all the time, but if you can find other photographers or people who have companies, you know, shaved ice companies or something, or catering companies or whatever, and those people are willing to share the tips and tricks with you and not worry about being a competitor, that's invaluable because you're going to gain their years of experience that they got through their career, their job, whatever. Now, when I was in corporate, mentors kind of just like fell into my lap because of how I was seen to the other executives, right? We just talked about how does your customer see you, right? So when I was out there in corporate, I was always out there as, I guess, like a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed type of go-getter, right? And so what did I say about what you put out? You attract. So I was attracting executives of the highest level saying, hey, you know, Kristie, you know, you should do this, or, hey, you know, maybe we should have some coffee. And I said, oh, heck yeah. Because at that point, I'm connecting with them and they can make introductions to other executives or people that they know in the community that could use my services. So when you hook up with mentors, they can help you make connections, introductions that can help your career, your business, whatever it is. And the third type of people that I highly recommend, and I've had all three, I've had cheerleaders, I've had mentors, and I do have business coaches, should be coaches and consultants. These folks should be unbiased. They're not there just to make a buck off of you. They're there because they want to give you unbiased opinions on how you can build your business or how you can change your lifestyle or what you need to do to have a higher level of success. And most of the time, a good coach should be giving you profitable perspective, right? Something that is helping your business. Somebody who can sit from the outside and not have any skin in the game, maybe not even know you personally, like a mentor would, and say, okay, well, that's not working. Now you might cry about it, but that's not working, right? So they have that perspective most of the time that maybe you just aren't seeing. And they will help you gain a competitive advantage. Because a lot of the time, I'll tell you right now, a lot of business people don't hire coaches or consultants. And that's okay. That's awesome. You know, maybe they have mentors or cheerleaders or some other people that are helping them. But I'll tell you, if you look at, say, Michael Jordan or any other high athlete, you know darn well those people, and he did, had personal coaches, personal trainers, right? I mean, just look at the people who want to go in the gym and lose weight. They hire a personal trainer because they've been doing sit-ups for 10 years and they are still 30 pounds overweight and it's not working. So what do? They hire a personal trainer to help them gain that advantage, to give them perspective, to say, hey, have you thought of this? That's how you can up-level your business even quicker. And what's really cool about coaches and consultants, you can spill all your mess to them. I'm not saying you want to be a crying board, but if you tell your coach everything, your consultant, your messes, and your awesomeness, they see both sides and they're not going out telling your customers, oh boy, did you know what she's doing in the back end? Like, I really don't think you want to see it. It's completely private. So you can tell them everything, hopefully, everything, and they're going to give you the perspective that you need to have a competitive advantage. And the really cool thing is they help you navigate obstacles even quicker, because why not have somebody who's been down that road, who has the experience to say, yes, this is how you get through that obstacle quicker. Let me just give you this technique. If you do it, then poof, you're through that quicker. And if you can get through those obstacles quicker, you can start getting more money, more sales, serve more people, make a difference, whatever it is. Good? Okay. So now what I would like you to do now is pick up that pen or laptop or whatever it is that you have in front of you. And I would love for you to put it in, 3 different columns: cheerleader, mentor, coach. And who is on your team right now? Because you all want a team. Contrary to popular belief, entrepreneurs don't do this alone. You might be called solopreneurs, but there's nothing solo about preneuring, right? So you always have a team. Now, whether it's people who work for you, or maybe it's like your lawyer, your accountant, your business mentor, whoever it is, your friends, your family, your neighbors, whatever it is, who's on your team right now? So what I want you to do is write down your cheerleaders, your mentors, your coaches, and write down people who you might want to have as your cheerleader, mentor, or coach. Write those names down. They might not even know that they're going to be one, to be a mentor. But write down people who you'd love to mentor under, or who you would love to have coach you, or people who you would love to have on your team as a cheerleader. So I'll give you a couple minutes. Okay, we'll give it about 1 more minute. Okay. All right. Did everybody get at least a couple names in each one of the columns? Good. Everybody's kind of well balanced. Okay. No?
Oh.
What column are you missing?
Coaching.
The coaching? Okay. All right. Stick around to the end. We'll chat. Okay. Is anybody want to share? I mean, of course you can say some names, but I want to hear, why did you put those names in that particular column? Does anybody want to share a couple people that they're excited, that they want to be their mentor or they are their mentor? Yeah.
Well, I'm going to share my cheerleaders because those are the ones that believe in me.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the people that I picked to surround myself with.
Good, 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 good. Perfect. Anybody else got some cool names? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, since it's just me doing the business, I have no really cheerleaders except for my customers' feedback.
Okay.
To give suggestions or my returning customers that I know. My mentors, I put down other candle entrepreneurs. We talk to say, well, why do you do it this way? Why do you do it that way? Give each other's ideas. I'm like her, I have nobody in my coaching or consultant. Future, I would love to have my kids, my husbands be more of my cheerleaders, but they're not. And, to help with the business.
Okay. Well, and what's really cool, I'm glad that you brought it up about your customers, because your customers are your fan. I mean, that's what you want, right? So a really cool idea is to put your customers, quote unquote, on blast in a good way. So a lot of the times, if your customers are happy with what you're offering, feature them in an email or your marketing, or do a video. You can easily do a Zoom video and just do an interview with them, or they can show their, product or whatever. You can have contests and say, hey, send me a photo with your candle in a cool place, and then you can Instagram that, you can put that on Facebook or however it is that you market, so I mean, it's great to have those cheerleaders and the motivation, but as a business owner, if your customers are your cheerleaders, make sure to put those in the forefront. Obviously, because a lot of people who don't know you may believe the customers with the candle in their own words than you saying, hey, I've got 1,000 customers who are happy. And they're like, okay, but if they see the name and the face and the product, and they show a really cool place that they have the candle or whatever, that's going to be a little bit more valid, right? Cool. Anybody else? Yeah.
In the mentors, I belong to, and they actually fall under 2 categories, but I belong to a mastermind group. That's what we call ourselves.
Yeah.
We meet once a week. We are all tax business owners.
Nice.
So we support each other in difficult tax returns as well as marketing, all of the aspects of it. And then you were talking about, and I don't mean to sound like I'm breaking myself, but you were talking about the pat on your back. And last night in our mastermind group, 2 people patted me on the back, and it was nice. I'm not going to say what it was. But it was nice to hear. I was like, oh, wow, thank you so much. But then in that return, I realized how good that did make me feel. So I immediately said in my head, then I'm going to pat 2 people on the back before this meeting's over. I'm going to tell 2 people that they're doing a great job too. So I just wanted to say, as far as asking for cheerleaders or looking for cheerleaders, I think it's good to be a cheerleader too, because somebody does need to hear you tell them.
That's right.
They did a great job.
Yep. Because you don't know what kind of day they had.
Right.
Right. I mean, they could have had the spill the coffee, the dog is sick, and I was late, and I lost my earring, lost the customer, whatever. And yeah, I mean, everybody needs a mental pickup, not just entrepreneurs. Right. So, I mean, yeah, it's good. Be a reverse cheerleader or whatever you want to call it.
And the law of attraction would work with that too. And
That's
honestly, I haven't heard of speaking of law of attraction in a long time. So I'm even glad that you said that because
yep, it works. I teach a little bit to my clients, and they use a couple different manifestation techniques and visualization. Like, oh, this stuff really works, Kristie. I'm like, I know, imagine that, it's great. But yeah, okay. Awesome though. I love that. I'm glad that you brought up, yes, be a cheerleader to somebody else, right? Return the favor. Okay. Anybody else before we move on? Yeah, go ahead right here.
For mentors, I have Lisa Ruska. She owns J. Rosario Salon in Southgate, and then Krista. I'm so soft-spoken. It's hard for me. I have an issue with rebooking because I'm not very aggressive. I just kind of feel like if they want to rebook, they'll rebook. But it's not working out well for me, and they're helping me learn how to like keywords that I can say.
Okay, that's great. And your name again? I'm sorry.
Sarah.
Sarah. So that's perfect. It's good that you're working with mentors that are in the business. They have the experience, and maybe they have the quote unquote personality for doing the sales and the marketing and things like that. Can I offer you a suggestion? So be careful of when you say, I'm not good at something. Right? Okay. Yes. I do it too. I'm just saying this is me too. But be careful when you say I'm not good at being assertive or getting sales or anything like that. You will be. You're on the path to being better at sales and rebooking. Okay. So I would just encourage you to say, I'm on the path to getting better at rebooking, because the more that you fill your head with that, the more that's going to come true for you. Because if you keep convincing your brain you're not good at rebooking, what's going to happen? You're going to keep not rebooking your people. So what you might want to do is that belief level. Think about what your customers love about what you do, you know, making them feel good, or they're happy, or, you know, they feel more confident, and think about what you offer the client. And then fill your head with that, of what you offer the client, because then that way you're aligning with that, and you're going to attract people who want more of that. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, perfect. All right. So if you have a really cool support team, there's you, there's your support team, and there's your competition. Your competition is trying to pull you down. They're trying to keep up with you, but they can't hang, because when you have those three types of people on your team, they're going to lift you up. You're going to have that experience. Your coach is going to give you that perspective, and you're going to rise above that competition. So what I didn't mention in my dropping the corporate mic story is there's a prequel to that. So I didn't just wake up one day and said, you know what, forget this job, I'm out, drop the mic. Because I actually did drop the mic. Like on my last day, I literally brought a microphone and I dropped it in front of my boss and walked out the door. Like I literally have video of it. It's really cool. But anyway, I digress. So there is a prequel to this, and it really has everything to do with accepting support. So when you're in a really good corporate gushy job, pays well, secure, big company, lots of benefits, it's really hard to get out of your comfort zone, right? Because everything's comfortable. You're making money, it's quote unquote safe, you don't want to get out. However, I got I won't say push, a kick literally from my business coach, because she had been watching me do this for a couple years. You know, I'd been running my business. Like I said, I'd been speaking and going across the country and doing all these things. And she's like, all right, how long are you going to do this? And I said, I don't know. And she said, she really looked at me. She's German. She looked at me and she's like, yeah, you know what, or get off the pot. And she gave me that, like that stern look, you know, and I was in Fort Worth, Texas. I was speaking to Lockheed Martin the next morning. And so we're at this conference the day before, and I literally almost had tears in my eyes, because she said, look, Kristie, I'll make a deal with you. I will coach you fee-free for the next year if you quit your job. Okay, now fee-free is 5 figures with this particular coach that I had hired. And I'm like, are you serious? And she said, yes, I will do that for you if it means that it will get you out of your job so you can work that business and do exactly what you say you want to do. So these are the types of people, because she's still my business coach, right? These are the types of people that you want in your corner. Because if you don't accept support, if you just think, oh, I'm an entrepreneur, I got to go at it alone, and I don't know where to find people, and I got to be the entrepreneur, I got to be the big dog, I don't want to lean on anybody. You know, if you kind of let a little bit of pride get in your way, you're not going to be able to succeed. And if it wasn't for her kick, and it really was a kick, it was a little harsh, but that's what I hired her for, is to kick me and to move me forward, I probably wouldn't be standing here right now. Or if I was, I'd be heading to my corporate job or something, or doing my gig or something like that. So it's really important to have those types of people in your corner, because 72%, and this is actually a study, 72% of entrepreneurs are either directly or indirectly affected by mental health issues, versus just by 48% of non-entrepreneurs.
So we really have to be crazy to have our own business.
You do. You do. It proves it right there. It proves it right there. But to say, that's a lot of stress, right? You are now taking a lot of risk, a lot of the stress and all that. But most of the entrepreneurs I talk to, they're like, I wouldn't have it any other way. But that just means that you need to take care of you, because if you are the business and you go down, that's something that my mentor, one of my other business coaches taught me. He's like, you need to take care of yourself. Now, here's what was funny is that I love traveling. I love having fun, love having adventures. And my business coach, not the one in Fort Worth, but a different one, he said, Kristie, you need to have more fun. Like, nobody has said that to me in my entire life. Like, I am the epitome of fun. Like, that is what I do. But the thing is all my traveling and my quote unquote fun was always business related. Either I was flying to a speaking event, or I was going to a business conference, or I was going to a coaching thing, or whatever it was. It was always business related. So when I mentored with him out in Philadelphia, you know, I went to his home, we had a VIP day of coaching. He said, when you come, I want you to do something fun. And I'm like, and this is really sad. I'm like, you mean like not around the business? Like, I can't do any business stuff? He's like, yeah, at least for a couple of days. I'm like, are you, I mean, like some email at least? Nope. And I was kind of freaking out because, again, we're the business, right? But look at that study. Look at the mental health thing, right? I needed to do it for my mental health. So I was on my way to Philly. I had never been to New York, never been to New York City before in my life. But I went and I hung out in Times Square and I hired a photographer and we went around all over the place and got kicked out of the library, and, you know, and all these kind of things. But we had fun. And that's what I want you to do, whether it's in Times Square or in a boathouse or in skiing or whatever, you know, or if it's not traveling, lock yourself in your room for an hour. That's cool. That's how you relax and that's how you rejuvenate, because you just saw that. Who is going to take care of you? So the question for this in Accept Support, you can screenshot this as your action item. Who are you going to contact to be a cheerleader, a mentor, or a coach? And how will you recharge? Because you need to take care of yourself. Because if you go down, your business could go down, or your team could go down. So there's your action item. Okay, I'm going to wait for questions toward the end, but this is just a reminder. If you have questions, please start writing them down so I can answer them or have time for them later. If we run out of time, I'll stick around. I'm happy to chat with anybody afterward. Okay, and I will give you all my contact information and things. We talked about coach. If you are looking for a coach, well, I'm here. Mark asked me to be here to support you all. I'm here to serve you. So if you have questions, you want to talk about those things, I'm here. Let's move on to R. Realize what you can control. What can you control? I can't change the direction of the wind, but I can adjust my sails to always reach my destination. That's by Jimmy Dean. So you can't sometimes change things that are outside external situations, but you sure can do at least some kind of action item. And realization is the smartest force. So we talked about the most powerful, we talked about most creative, and this is the smartest force, because if you can focus on this thing right here, you will have less worry and more energy. Who would love to worry less and have more energy in the day? Anybody? Yeah? Okay, good. So when things hit the fan and you realize that some stuff is going on, are you kind of cool and chill like a fox, or are you freaking out? Does it depend on the challenge? Do you see other people doing this sometimes? It could be something small, like the flowers are blue, not red. Oh my gosh, the end of the world. Those kind of things. So let's just think about how you're reacting to adversity. What can you control? Because when worry gets out of control, if you worry, oh my gosh, I'm short-staffed, I got to get the thing is late, this and that, and my customers are unhappy, I lost the client, da, da, da. If you have these things that are worrying you, that are potentially outside your control, please go back to the have belief part of the HARE method. So let's think about what you can control. And it sounds like such an easy question, and I do want you to write this down because obviously I'm going to ask you what you can't control. But what can you control on one side of your paper? What can you not control on the other side of your paper? And I would like to hear a couple shares, because sometimes the things you can control and can't control aren't always what you think. So I would love for you to write down, and it needs to be in 2 separate columns. It can even be on a separate piece of paper if you've got it. What can you control and what can you not control? So I would love for you to ID that now. And I'll give you a couple minutes. Give it one more minute. This may or may not be an easy one. Okay, we'll stop there and throw out some things. What can you control? What is totally 100% within your control?
Your
Attitude,
Yourself.
reaction,
Team members, or the members that you work with.
You can control your team members?
You know, you can control who you pick.
You can control who you choose on your team. Yep, absolutely. I was like, woo, tell me more.
You can control how you work and the effort that you give.
Your effort that you give out and your work ethic, right? You control that. Absolutely.
Product that I give out, I can control.
Yep.
Goes out.
Because you're making it, right? You are actually creating that product. Yep.
Your physical environment.
Physical environment. Okay, tell me a little bit more about that.
So the atmosphere in the office, the music that's playing.
There you go.
The clutterness, the physical environment.
The ambiance, the feel, the vibe of the, yep, you can control that. And as they say, are you a thermostat or a thermometer? So one of the things I talk about in leadership is, do you just say what the temperature is, or do you actually change the temperature? Right? So thermometer or thermostat. Yep, perfect. Anything else? What else can you control? Consistency. Yep. Yeah, because you're the one that's getting up and doing the same thing, keeping the process, keeping it consistent for your clients, right? Okay. What can you not control? What is completely out of your control?
The public.
The what? The public?
Other people.
Time is out of your control, 100%.
Other people.
Other people. It'd be nice, but you can't, right?
The weather.
The weather. Yeah. True.
The availability of your supplies for your product.
Sure. Heck yeah. Nowadays, right? You can't control the suppliers. Can't do it. Anything else?
In my business, late planes, traffic, car problems, people change their plans.
Yeah.
So they show up at the promised 4 o'clock when it's actually 10 p.m.
Oh, wow. Lateness of other people, right? Transportation. Absolutely. The infrastructure. Exactly. So now what I would love for you to do, and depending on what you did, you can redo this when you get back to your office or whatnot, is I want you to take the list of the things that you cannot control and trash it. Delete it, scratch it out, scribble it, whatever you got to do. I don't want you to be able to even read that list anymore. No more. Don't read that list. Because all I want you to do is concentrate on the things that you can control. And that's why I said that this is the smartest force when you're facing adversity. Because when I talked about worry and energy, A lot of my clients would say, oh, Kristie, well, my boss is this or this client or whatever. Can you control that? No. So then why are you wasting your energy on it? Now I know it's human nature. I get it. I'm the same way. Oh my gosh, it's raining. Oh, and I was supposed to do this and that. And now I can't, right? Things are just out of your control. You worry about it. But again, remember, we reframe and we say, okay, I'm going to cross that off my list, right? The trash list, can't control it. Cross it off my list. I can control my reaction, the environment around me, my attitude, my work ethic. I can control these things. And if more people understood, and this is just people in general, people understood what they could control, it would serve them better. It would serve their business better. It would serve their friends and family better. It would serve their whole soul and spirit better because they know what they can control. And there's no reason to waste energy and worry on the weather and other people and cruddy clients and vendors that don't deliver on time, right? But you can go back to your customer and say, hey, guess what? It's going to be late, but because you're a return customer, I'm going to give you 10% off your next order. Guess what? Customer happy, maybe a return customer, right? You can control that, right? Weather sucks. Okay, no problem. Well, we'll get through this, but then you get to figure out a way on how to get around the weather problem next time, right? And we'll get into that part in a minute. Those who focus only on what they control will win. Just like athletes, right? Athletes can't control what other teammates are doing on there. Like the quarterback can't control what the other teammates are doing, right? All he can do is throw the ball the best way he can, right? Or if you're a basketball, the only way you can do is shoot the best way that you can. You can't figure out if people are going to help defend you or do the play or play good or play well or whatever. But the true athletes, the superstars, know they have belief. They believe in their own abilities to bring it every single time so they win. They don't get caught up in the stuff that they can't control. Because why? Right? Blood pressure goes up, you worry, there's no reason for it, and you just waste your energy. So I want to tell you a story about when worrying just does not work. And this is a picture of me and my running buddy after I ran my first 6.5 mile race. It was a half marathon relay, so 6.5 miles. And so what happened is that's my friend Ken. And Ken and I have been friends for a long time. And we were at a party, friend party. This was back in 2014, fall of 2014. And he's like, hey, Kristie, I just got done finishing a half marathon. I said, well, good for you. That's awesome. And he goes, well, you know how you used to run 5Ks and 8Ks and things like that. And, it's like, okay, yeah. He goes, we should do a marathon. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. A what? And he hadn't been drinking, so I was kind of like, what did you just say? He's like, oh, we should run a marathon. I'm like, whoa, hold on. A 5K is like 3 miles. An 8K is 5 miles. Anybody know how much a marathon is? 26.2. 26.2. Thank you very much. Because that 0.2 is horrendous. So 26.2 miles is not a 5K. It's a little different. Only crazy people do marathons. So long story short, he somehow convinced me. So I said, okay, I'll get on this 30-week marathon training plan, right? I started in 2015, and this was how it was supposed to go. So in April, I did that first 6.5 mile run that you saw me with the little medal. Yay. And I ran with my dog Kismet. Yay, 6.5. Woohoo. That was in April. Then I did my first half marathon. I was like, yeah, September, good to go. And I was like, this is great. So then after you do a half marathon, you got to do a 20-mile training run. And that was in November. And I ran through the snow and the ice, but I got it done. There's a reason I'm leaning on the closet door. So got it done. However, shortly after that 20-mile run, I ended up with that on my leg. So we are now 6 weeks from race day, and the marathon that we decided to run was the Walt Disney Marathon. and it was going to be January 10th of 2016. So we planned an entire vacation. We planned a Disney cruise, like me and his wife Ember and me, you know, the group of us were going to go on a cruise. Then we were going to go to Universal. Then we were going to go to Disney World. There's like this whole 10-day vacation that I had planned with them as a group, right? We're going to run the marathon. Then we go on a cruise and we do all these cool things. And that happened. So I had some pain in my ankle. I went to the foot doctor. Foot doctor says, guess what? You're going to have to be off your feet for about 4 weeks. Okay, you see how long this is from race day, right? You're technically not supposed to stop running right before the marathon. You're supposed to keep going. And so after I probably had a good cry, because we had been planning this since 2014, I was like, well, now what am I going to do? Right? I'm in this boot. Doctor says, what can I control? No running allowed. So anyway, I said, okay, what can I control? Well, I can get a second opinion. So I went to an orthopedic sports doctor and they did a bone scan. And he said, well, you might have stress fractures, which would have taken me completely out of the race. You might have stress fractures, but let's check it out. Okay, great. I'm willing to do anything. That was within my control. So we go do this bone scan at Bone Mind. Has anybody had a bone scan? It's really freaky. Like they put this blue radioactive fluid in your veins, and then they put you in this machine, and then you can see, like, it goes through your body for like 4 hours, and you can see like all the veins and stuff like that. And, you know, the funny thing is when the lady's pumping me with this stuff through an IV, she goes, so are you thinking of going to Canada anytime soon? And I'm like, what's that got to do with anything? She goes, well, because if you go in the next 3 days, you might set off the radioactive alarms. I'm like, that's really cool. It sounds, yeah. And so I'm not really a fan of pumping chemicals in my body. Like I was really against it because that's just not my style. But again, this is something that I could control and I wanted to run that marathon. So anyway, so they did the bone scan and I went to the orthopedic doctor. It took a couple weeks to get the results back. So now we are about 3 weeks from race day. And I still don't know if I can even be allowed to run. However, went to the doctor's office and he said, yes, you can absolutely run. You have to take 1 more week off with the boot, but in 2 weeks, you can go ahead and start running slow. So that is exactly what I did. I ended up running the Walt Disney Marathon, January 10th of 2016. There's a reason I'm sitting down, but I'm happy because I'm done. But that was within my control. Because at first, when they put that boot on, I was crying. I was upset. How am I going to get through this? You know, I've got all these things weighing down on me. But I looked at what I can control. I controlled my attitude. I controlled thinking positive. And I controlled my actions. So when you look at that kind of stuff, think about what can you control and what are you going to do about it? And when things come up that you can't control, what are you going to do about it? Okay, so that's your action item. We're going to move on to the last one. Expect struggle, but with a small caveat. Expectation is the most realistic force that you can use against adversity. Why? Because if you're in a bad situation, don't worry, it'll change. If you're in a good situation, don't worry, it'll change. It's just the way that it is. So when things happen, are you kind of like, yay, it's okay, we'll be good, everything will turn out right? You know, kind of maybe like a blind kind of positivity. Or are you kind of looking at it with a little bit of skepticism, like, I think we need to make some changes. Now, how you look at it really is going to depend how you're going to end up. Because this is based on preparation, mindset, and flexibility. And sometimes all three of those things conflict. Because when you're prepping for things, right? Like you think that the vendor might be late, customers aren't going to be on time, transportation problems, infrastructure problems, whatever. You need to keep your eyes open and your humility intact, because if you get a little overconfident on things, that's when adversity sneaks up and bites you. So you want to keep the humility in check sometimes. When things are going awesome, just kind of keep the eyes open. Because when you prep for stuff like this, it softens the blow of adversity. Because the more you prep, the more you think of what possibly could happen, then when adversity hits, if you get there early, like today, actually, I'm just going to share this. So I left here early. I live about an hour and 15 minutes from here, right? So I left with 15, 20 minutes buffer, but I forgot something. So I went all the way back home, of course, because, right, I was early. Oh, yeah, I'm early. Oh, yeah, traffic's going to be great. Oh, I forgot this thing. And, you know, I had to get back to home, and I still got here on time, right? So I was a little overconfident. Adversity reminded me that it's out there. But because I had left earlier, it softened the blow of the adversity. So I didn't have to be stressed when I got here. I was still right on time, right? Success becomes easier when you prep for it, right? Make the path to success easier, not harder, right? Prep. But I want to warn you, don't get caught up in too much of that negativity. Be careful of that. Watch out for attracting those struggles, because if you're always thinking negative, like, oh, geez, you know, the vendor's always late, here they go again, or I'm not going to get the product, it's going to rain again, you know, prepping, but not getting sucked into the vortex of negativity of things that could go wrong, right? Because we talked about the law of attraction. It's your mindset. If you think it's going to be hard, it will be. If it's hard to rebook clients, it will be. If it's hard to be assertive and ask for a sale, it will be. So what you want to do is have faith in what you have in place. That's your talents, your characteristics, your team, whatever it is. And then realize what's going on and then let it go. If there's issues that are coming up, realize those things and just let them go. Because the most successful entrepreneurs use preparation and mindset. And guess what? That equals flexibility. The most flexible companies, especially, I don't know about you, but the last couple of years, in 2020, the ones that were flexible are the ones that survived. Because I know a lot of speakers, a lot of speaker friends around the country, and if not the world, where they did not know virtual at all. You know, I had a lot of friends, they only knew how to speak physically on stage. They did not know Zoom, webinars, virtual. For me, that was a way of life. That's how I do my business. So it was no different for me. But it was the ones who didn't know how to carry on a speaking career virtually. Those are the ones that really suffered. So when you're flexible, your adaptability goes through the roof. And guess what? That means innovation. So I would love for you to rate, this is an easy one, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest. How's your preparation, your mindset, and your flexibility? You can just write it really quick. Rate your preparation, your mindset, and your flexibility, if not of yourself and of your business.
Is that one number for each one, or is that an overall number?
It is one for each one. So on a scale of 1 to 10 for prep, mindset, and flexibility. Yep. Yeah, rate that now. Preparation, mindset, and flexibility. Because sometimes you have no choice to put all three of those together. So here's a quick little story. It all started with tomato juice. So I got a pretty large speaking gig for IMA, Institute Management Accountants, because accounting and technical professionals who I specialize in, right? And so they asked me to be a speaker out in San Diego for their national conference. Over 1,000 accountant professionals, either finance people, CFOs, all that. So all the big dogs will be there. It was my first time speaking on the national stage for them. And so I was a little nervous, but I was like, okay, I'm going to reframe, I'm going to think positive. So I'm sitting on the plane and I'm, you know, polishing up my presentation, making sure I've got everything good. Woman sitting next to me decides to have tomato juice. So here's my laptop sitting on the table. Here's her large glass of tomato juice. And the next thing I know, I'm wearing all of her tomato juice all the way down my shirt on the floor, inches from the precious laptop. Because I swear I would have been thrown off the plane if it had landed on my laptop. But anyway, so here is a hot mess of tomato juice and everything. I am flying in that day, and I am supposed to do a little session, a mini session that day. As soon as I flew in, my big session was the next day. Covered in tomato juice, plane was late, couldn't check into the hotel on time. Uber driver was late. I'm frantic because I have like 20 minutes to change clothes, look professional, and say, hi, everybody, here's the cool session on the leadership pipeline, right? But what was my choice? I expected a struggle. I'm like, okay, this happened. At least it didn't hit the laptop. I'm grateful for that. Good thing to remember. Okay, all I can do is reframe my thoughts as I'm changing clothes and getting everything together, right? So sometimes you have to expect that struggle. And you also have to learn how to reframe it and take yourself out of the frazzledness. So in the end, all these folks were super duper happy with me. I rocked the stage and everybody was excited. So that was my reward, basically, for keeping myself intact, reframed, and positive. So now what are the struggles and how will you compete? What are the struggles that you're going through right now? And how are you going to compete with them? How are you going to compete with the other things that are coming up? So there's your action item there. How are you going to deal with those struggles? How are you going to, do you have to change any type of preparation? Do you have to be more flexible? Do you have to change your mindset? So how do you really adversity proof your business? What do all these things have in common? They are learning experiences. Because if you only have learning experiences, you technically never really have challenges or adversity, do you? Right? Things hit the fan, problems hit the fan, challenges are there, everything is hitting you all at once. But guess what? You only have learning experiences. So if you take those learning experiences and do something with them, not just worry or get frazzled or get upset by it, that's what's going to put you over your competitors. Because here you have adversity. And adversity, if you turn them into learning experiences, guess what? That's how you create more innovative solutions. That leads to innovation. And when you have innovation and you create cool stuff, your customer experience goes up. And guess what? If your customer experience is higher, you have what? Happier customers. So this is how you literally can adversity proof your business. So if you have happy customers, what does that equal? More money. Happier you. Maybe make a bigger difference. And maybe you have some new ideas of services and products and different ways that you can serve your customer. This is a win-win all around. This is how you adversity proof your business or yourself, your career, whatever it is. So what's the opposite of success? Real quick.
Failure.
Yeah.
Failure? Yeah. It's actually quitting, right? Because success is 99% of failure. One needs to fail to learn, to succeed. But if you quit, success is impossible, right? Unless you're quitting something that's not working, of course. Then that might be a step to success. So here's a summary. Let's put it all together because we're getting to the end of time here. Have belief. That's your H. How are you going to protect and restore it as needed for you and your customer? You want to believe in your business, but you also want your client to believe in your business and what you're doing. And that equals refocusing, realigning, reframing. And don't listen to those basement people, those people trying to bring you down, right? There's balcony people and basement people. Stay away from those basement folks, right? Or haters, whatever you want to call them. And accept support. What do you need to grow stronger and thrive? What kind of resources do you need? What kind of education? What kind of people? And remember, there's cheerleaders, there's mentors, there's coaches, all of that stuff to help you grow your business. Realize what you can control. What will you change right now for big results? What needs to change? What can you change? What can you not change? Focus only on what you can control because you're going to beat the competition. They're going to focus on all the bad things going on because that's what people do, but not you. You're going to focus only on what you can control and expect struggle. What are you going to put in place to ease those future setbacks? You've probably learned a lot about life and business in the last couple of years, at least. What are the types of things that you've learned that you can put into place now? Do you need to mentor with more people? Do you need more higher capital? Do you need some investors? You know, what is it that you need? Because you want to have that prep, that mindset and flexibility. You just rated yourself. Is there somewhere you can improve that? Make success easier to achieve, not harder. So leaders are readers. And I always love giving book recommendations, and I'm going to leave them up here, but I've got 3. One's called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway by Susan Jeffers. So if you've got some fear, you're just like, okay, I'm an entrepreneur. You know, what is going on? I've got all this stuff. I'm not sure. Should I launch that product? Should I risk that? Should I invest that money? Peaks and Valleys by Spencer Johnson. So this is basically all about adversity. So I think this would be a great one for you too, where you're talking about reframing, negative, positive, things like that. Peaks and Valleys is a great one. And we talked a lot about flexibility and innovation. I love this book. This book is amazing. It's story-based. It's got Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk. It's got people from the past, you know, political figures, everybody. And it's got all these really cool, mind-blowing ways of thinking of things in a different manner. Innovation, new perspective, different ways to serve your client. This book is amazing. I mean, I've referred this to a lot of people. So they're up here if you need to kind of grab another picture of it or whatever. But okay, we're going to end with prize time. And prize time is to the first person who raises their hand and answers 2 questions correctly. What's that?
She raised his hand.
Oh, wait, I didn't even, no, it doesn't work that way. So what the prize is, it's $400 value, and I'm going to give you a leadership and personality and behaviors assessment. So it's a 42-page assessment about communication style, leadership style, personal behaviors, how to communicate with you, and then also a 30-minute coaching session on your results and how we can use that for you to use better as a leader in your business. Okay, everybody ready? Okay, so I'm gonna ask you 2 questions. You gotta wait till I say the question before you raise your hand. So the question is, what does the HARE method stand for? H-A-R-E, and give me 2 action items that I've asked you to do surrounding any of those 4 sections. I see Kathy first.
Well, the HARE means have belief, accept support, expect struggles, and realize what you can control.
Yep. Okay. And then give me 2 action items that I asked for on any of those.
What are your struggles and how will you compete?
Yes. Perfect. Woohoo! What? Okay. So I'm going to give you my information in just a second. So Kathy, please email me and just say, hey, I'm the big winner. Give me my stuff. Then I'll make sure that you get the link. So anyway, I'm here for you. Like I said, Mark asked me to be here because I'm here to support you. I apologize. We did run over time just a little bitty bit, but it was good interaction and I didn't want to just stop the flow. So I'm here for you. I know some of you, when we talked about mentors and cheerleaders and coaches, you're like, I really don't have a coach. You know what? I got you. We're good. Here's all my information. This is everything. You can screenshot this. It's got my number, my email, my socials, all that kind of stuff where you can link with me. You can follow me, do all the things. Say, hey, Kristie, I met you at the Grow Your Business workshop. It was amazing. And if it wasn't, don't put that on your evaluation. But anyway, so here's all of my information. You can screenshot that. And then I told you I got you. So every single person in this room, I highly recommend you do screenshot this, is I am giving you that 1 hour leadership strategy session. So when you're talking about coaches and, hey, I don't have one, or I'd love to bounce some ideas off someone, I really am in this spot in my business or career, I would really love to see how I can up level my business, jump on a call. It's 100% free. There's no charge for this. So jump on and just get a little bit more information that you need. I'm here to walk the walk and talk the talk. I said that you need these types of people in your life. I'm willing to say, look, here's some information, do with it what you will. And whether you work with me or someone else, doesn't matter. I want you to have the information. So then afterwards, let's say if we chat and you're like, hey, let's work together, we'll talk about that too. You know, we'll see if it's a fit. If you're looking for more information, you just want some good motivation. Remember, I talked about an entrepreneurial mindset. Keep it healthy, keep it positive, keep it fun. Go to kristietv.com, subscribe on YouTube. I've got leadership shows and review, interviews and things like that. It's just a fun thing about me traveling and doing leadership stuff. And you'll probably, I hope, learn a thing or two about that. You know, we do talk about mindset. We do talk about gratitude. We talk about leadership. I interview all sorts of people from around the world. So I would love for you to just jump on there and get some good information. So I'm going to leave it here. I am going to stay afterward for questions. I've got the books here if you need anything. If you need my information again, there it is. And I am going to throw this back to the amazing, awesome Mark.